Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya. How did those two become the hottest names in Hollywood? And why does everyone keep comparing them? One may be massively overrated. The other may be trapped by her own image. So how did they rise so high? Who has the real power? Who is overrated?
Who makes biggest mistakes right now?
And who is actually running Hollywood? Today we're gonna do the real comparison. No fun logic, no safe opinions, no fake prize. This is status verdict for Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney. My name is Lana. I studied psychology and business 6 years. I work in luxury and deal with a high status circle. On this type of video, I break down power, status, smart or stupid strategies of the famous people. Before we go back to where this rivalry started, we need to look at what's happening right now at the premiere of Euphoria Season 3, because that moment showed us everything. Many people were waiting for Euphoria Season 3 and many people were expecting it to be disaster for several reasons. First, the gap between seasons was huge. Season 2 premiere was in 2022 and Season 3 comes only 4 years later. Because a lot of things happened during these 4 years, especially with the cast. The main actors changed their status completely. Some fought with producers, some had public scandals, some got involved in messy relationships. And the tension between two major stars, Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney, became more and more obvious. The status of two biggest names in the cast, especially Sydney Sweeney, changed dramatically over the last few years. So let's go back to the beginning, where the Euphoria Season 1 was career-changing for the cast. When the first season began, the hierarchy among the cast was clear. Zendaya entered as a main star. She was already famous, already established, and already had major projects behind her, including Marvel franchise Spider-Man. The rest of the cast was far below her level. But for Zendaya, Euphoria was also a turning point. It proves she could do serious dramatic work. She won the Primetime Emmy Awards twice and became one of the youngest actresses ever to do it. That's a serious achievement and it helped a lot to her career. And Zendaya also became a fashion icon, queen of the red carpet. At almost every premiere, she pulled major attention. A huge part of them came from her alliance with the stylist Lou Roach. He helped turning her into one of the biggest iconic young women on any red carpet, which also showed us that Zendaya knows how to build the team. Then came another massive franchise, Dune. And then came more strong projects, and today Zen is maybe the biggest star of her generation. She apparently has highest celebrity status today. Now I know that people like inspiring stories, they like fairy tales, but on this channel I'm rarely saying what people really like. I'm saying how things works in fact. So people want to believe that someone gets status because they are talented, hardworking, but when you're playing at the highest level, things cannot be that simple. In Hollywood, a lot of beautiful people, a lot of talented people, and a lot of hardworking people, but only few of them gets everything. So what's really happened with Zendaya? What helped her to reach the top? Talent matters, but luck, timing, context, and narrative matters too. And in Zendaya's case, those things played a huge role. I'm talking about main agenda in Hollywood those time and huge cultural moment around Black Lives Matter. Those things played for Zendaya's hand. She is biracial star, her mother is Irish-German and her father American-Nigerian. Zendaya played perfectly with that. She spoke publicly about creating more opportunities for people of color once she gained power in industry. At that time, that message had huge moment.
I think Black Lives Matter. That's all it is too. I think a lot of people misconstrue it. Black Lives Matter does not mean any other lives do not matter. It just means that right now, in our world, the lives that need to be, I guess the light that needs to be shined And the thing that needs the attention is Black lives. And so that's what we need to do, and we need to raise our voice and we need to make it known. So it's not saying that nobody else matters. It's just saying that right now, this is where we need to put our energy and direct our focus.
Agenda was always important for Hollywood, and Zendaya chose a very good strategy which helped her to win. And again, it's not canceling her talent. It's just show us how to choose a right strategy can help you to rise. Zendaya and her team just perfectly understood the moment and moved very well inside it. Then it was her relationship with the Tom Holland, which actually works against her Black Lives Matter support, but jokes aside, it was a perfect move too. This put interest to Zendaya on another level. It was powerful public image. An on-screen couple becoming a real-life couple always creates headlines, always builds emotional investment. All of that lifted her into A-list with a real influence and elite status. Now we explain Zendaya's rise, but none of the rivalry comes without a second part. And on another side, we have Sydney Sweeney. Euphoria was a game-changing project not only for Zendaya. It was also the breakdown moment for the second main character of our video, Sydney Sweeney. But her doors opened in completely different way. Sydney Sweeney is actually the opposite of everything Zendaya representing. If Zendaya represents a polished feminist power and the approved modern narrative, then Sydney represents the male gaze fantasy and a more anti-establishment energy. And Sydney got attention in a very different way. If Zendaya got awards, respect, Emmy wins, and critical praise, Sydney got virality, massive virality. Her erotic scenes were everywhere, social media was flooded, men were obsessed, people could not stop talking about her. And let's be honest, the show knew exactly what it was doing. Her appearance was used heavily, sometimes naturally, sometimes very obviously, but that became her first wave of power. But then Sydney made a weak move. Sydney Sweeney's early strategy had very big problem. She was using her appearance, she was showing off all her strongest features, she was taking every chance to keep this viral attention alive. And then she was going to the interviews and saying that she is hating to be sexualized. That was a mistake, because audiences are not stupid. People understand exactly what they are watching. They understood that Sydney was heavily benefiting from erotic virality and using it to grow fast. So when at the same time she tried to sound above it all and say she hated that attention, it created a bad message. It made people feel that she thought they are idiots. And it gave her fake energy. So everybody understand that if you're wearing something appealing, you want an attention, okay? I'm a little bit showing off today, so you can sexualize me, so I am ready for that. The weirdest things which you can do is to sit almost naked and say that you are hating to be sexualized. This look absolutely fake, and this is very dangerous for the young star. When the fans feel that you are fake, they're losing interest immediately. But Sydney or her team made the smart move at the right time. They changed the strategy. Instead of constantly complaining about being sexualized, she started owning the image and pushing it harder. She stopped apologizing for the attention. She started using it. More confidence, more self-awareness, more controlled. Sydney leaned into the fantasy people already attached to her, and suddenly she looked stronger. She was not hiding herself in small, serious art house projects. She was everywhere. So Sydney was stopped trying to be perfectly correct, and she started moving closer and closer to the image which people already had about her. And instead of weakening her, it's actually opened a new doors. But it's also had a side effect. Sydney was pulled into one controversy after another, and one of the biggest was the Good Genes campaign.
My American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
You already heard about this million times, and what's the reason? So people was blaming that she is saying about her white superiority. It was massive wave of canceling her. And when she had an interview for GQ, the journalist was giving her chance to apologize, and she didn't.
Is there something that you want to say about the ad itself? The Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Do you have?
The ad spoke for itself.
You think the ad spoke for itself?
Yeah.
Okay. And the criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
So basically, she refused to apologize for this commercial. Even when many people accused her of racism, superiority, and coded messaging, she did not get cancelled. Sydney faced a massive backlash, yes, but she became even bigger. Why? Because controversy creates two markers. One is your haters, who is so loud, and another one is your supporters, who is also very loud. And both bring attention. She was noticed by political voices close to Donald Trump. Some people framed her as a good Republican girl, which made critics lose their mind. And don't forget, for Sydney, attention and noise is her currency. And then came another powerful move.
Sydney Sweeney reportedly built a very powerful connection with Jeff Bezos, who then helped her to launch a lingerie brand and spend on it $1 billion.
That tells you everything. Sydney is not playing random games. She's monetizing her image every possible angle. I'm not buying fairy tales about the innocent girl who is just enjoying male gaze around her and enjoying her sexuality. It's never about these things. This is business, a very profitable business. That's not only funds for the beginners, it's top of the top things. And by today, Sydney Sweeney built a massive financial success. But on this channel, we know one thing. Money is never enough for such a people. That's why we're taking this further. Success, cash, virality, and status are not the same thing. Sydney's strategy brought her attention, money, and a loyal audience. But it's also created enemies inside elite institutions. Yes, nowadays to be a woman and hate Sydney Sweeney, it's a weak move because everybody will say, oh, she's just jealous. But it's important because in the top of the industry, there are people who is not approving her, who is not seeing her as a serious actress. The reputation and controversy behind Sydney Sweeney opening some doors, and some doors closing forever. Today, Sydney Sweeney is trying to change the rules. Instead of escaping the image of the sexual doll, she is learning how to weaponize it. She representing something rare, a woman and openly benefiting from desirability in an era that often criticized that line. So Sydney Sweeney made us think that she is not really cared about the main narrative about woman and power, about woman against sexuality, them, and that thing made people react. I'm not talking now about that is like good for the women or bad for the women. I'm talking about again about the Sydney strategy. Meanwhile, Zendaya stayed polished, correct, elegant and strategic. But there is a risk. If you're always being so perfect, it's becoming predictable, and predictable means boring. So now we understand both women, the two different strategies, two different kinds of power, and now they meet again at the same room, at the premiere of Euphoria Season 3. And now we ask the real question, who looks weaker right now? Who looks stronger? Who looks more powerful? So let's break down the status for Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya. Up front, I will tell you that Zendaya's position looks less beneficial on this premiere and I will explain you why. During the premiere, Zendaya was automatically in the weaker position for one simple reason. She was always the one unquestionable star of this show. But now this position has to be shared. Because everyone understands right now, Sydney Sweeney pulls massive attention, and that changes the room before anyone even arrives. Before season 3, there was already a lot of talk about how Zendaya would face Sydney, because people now read them as the opposites. Zendaya is against Donald Trump, and Sydney represents like his supporter and MAGA blonde girl. So why did Zendaya look weaker at that moment? Because her status stayed strong, but not dramatically changed from the season 2. When she entered Euphoria, she already had the Marvel franchise machine behind her, a polished reputation, and the perfect public relationship with Tom Holland. Today she is still strong, still elite, still respected. But the story feels similar. Yes, she entered another giant franchise with Dune, but some project did not explode the way people expected. So while she remained powerful, she also started to feel more polished, more careful, more controlled. And one more thing played against Zendaya. It's that the wave of the Hollywood inclusivity, Black Lives Matter, and Hollywood politics is not as strong like before. And because of that, Zendaya looks also less relevant than few years ago. The cultural mood changed, and right now Sydney looks more like a star built for this exact moment. But Zendaya could have flipped that perception anytime. Instead, at the premiere of Euphoria season 3, she was looking like she is trying too hard. She is trying a lot to show everyone that she is above this show and above everything around it. She arrives late, she kept distance, and did not fully blend into the cast energy. It was like, I'm bigger than this style. But instead of looking untouchable, it looks tensed, too calculated, too aware of every move. And calculation is weakening presence because it feels like the person is kind of afraid to make any wrong move. She's afraid to make a common picture of her co-stars because she doesn't want this conversation that she took photo with a Trump supporter. We all understand that the common photo doesn't mean that Zendaya supporting Sydney and her vision, right? So it's just a common photo. It's to show the respect to the audience who love the Euphoria. So Zendaya didn't look strong on that premiere. It was actually reverse. Meanwhile, Sydney Sweeney looked like she was enjoying herself. It was also a lot of controversy with who is taking photo with her, who is not taking photo with her, who is talking to her, who is not talking to her, right? Because, you know, fans was watching every move. But she was not really paying attention to these things. She talked with everyone, she took a photo with everyone, she was just a girl in the moment. And this made Sydney look fearless. And whether we like it or not, the fearlessness is attractive. So at the premiere moment, Sydney compares to Z looked stronger. So who is actually winning our status games? The answer depends on one thing. Are we judging today or the next 10 years? Hollywood power and influence is a long-term game. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And in a marathon, Sydney's strategy may face a serious problems. First of all, huge part of her image is built on her appearance. And appearance is never the safest investment, because there is always someone younger, always someone fresher, always someone new. The industry is brutal. If one day Sydney tries to rebrand her into the prestige actress, that might be difficult. She already tested that line with more serious roles. But it didn't work. It was a biopic about boxing star, which didn't give her any expected outcome. That is challenge number one. Challenge number two is politics. Sydney intentionally or unintentionally, but aligned with Donald Trump and these MAGA narratives. It doesn't matter she wanted it or not, because the politics are already using her in their benefit. Politics likes to create symbols from these young celebrities. And that can be dangerous, because when the political wind changes, symbols can become disposable overnight. The same machine that lifts you can turn on you. That's the risk of becoming useful to an agenda. And there is another risk people don't like to say. Not any single woman wants to be trapped at the sexual image forever. I know maybe men's upset about it, but it's so true. Because what looks playful in your 20s doesn't look the same way later. At some point, many stars want to be seen for something beyond sexuality, beyond attention, beyond fantasy. You can see this transformation from Pamela Anderson. She was heavily sexualized in her 20s. Her upper part was everywhere. And now she's refusing all beauty expectations from her. She doesn't want even to wear makeup. So she doesn't want people to see her as an object. Because every actress understands that what lifted you once can become your cage later on. And this is where Zendaya looks stronger for a long run. Look at the audience conversations. On Sydney page, people constantly talk about her appearance. On Zendaya's page, people talk about projects, roles, films, performances. Even when they criticize the project, they are still discussing the work. Because being discussed for your work is more durable than being discussed for your looks. Second strong point for Zendaya is reputation. Zendaya image brings long-term partnerships with elite brands like Louis Vuitton, Bulgari. That means money, access, networks, and the status that can last. So in the long distance, Zendaya obviously looks more stable and more protected. But she still has work to do. She needs to feel less calculated, less trapped at the same strong, powerful woman archetype. More experimental, more surprising. If she evolves, she can stay at the top of the top for a very long time. So yes, Sydney Sweeney maybe looks hotter at the moment, but Zendaya built better for the future and long run. And that's why this rivalry is so interesting. Both women benefit from the comparisons. Both make the story bigger. It's interesting to observe. And don't tell me, do not compare, because everyone is beautiful and different. This is not a story for this channel, okay? We are comparing things because here we speak about how things really work. People are comparing, competing. It's normal, it's life, it's our instinct, especially when we are talking about Hollywood star. So what about my honest opinion about these two amazing women? I will tell you one thing. Today, I would rather watch the new movie with Sydney Sweeney because she still can surprise me, because she is not afraid of experiments. Every new project with Zendaya, I can predict what kind of character she is going to play. It will be again strong women who is more powerful than everyone's around, and I'm a little bit tired of this narrative. I want to see her in different archetype, and I hope she will also start experimenting and increasing her talent and her amplitude. But this is just my opinion. Tell me yours in the comment. I like to speak with you in the comment. I like to read your comments. I'm reading everything. I'm replying to everyone. So I'm waiting you in the comment section.